and celebrate the Year of Rabbit. There's so much to look forward to. So make sure you stay throughout our whole live session and enjoy listening to the topic of investing in the Year of Rabbit. Before going straight to the topic, do follow us, Capital Dynamics, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Very important. As usual, we'll be giving out special prizes for two best comment winners. Feel free to comment or raise any questions. We'll be answering them throughout our live session. Stay tuned as there will be special giveaway, so like, comment, and share this live on your Facebook feed to gain your chances of winning, and may the best comments win. And welcome our speaker Teng Boo to our live again. Teng Boo.
Hi.
Yes. Are you guys excited for the Chinese New Year? Comment yes or no. There's like toll-free highway.
Toll-free highway, is it?
Yes.
Oh, on all the highways.
Mm.
Oh, then you worsen the traffic jam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, because it's toll-free, so more people will be driving.
Yes.
So what's the point, right? You get toll-free for X amount of ringgit, then your car is stuck for extra 2 hours, you burn more petrol, you have to incur more expenses for your petrol.
Yeah.
It's more than the toll-free,
Ooh. But
isn't it? I mean, don't you think that's going to happen, right? If people are going to rush out because it's toll free, then I don't know. Already the roads are going to be jammed, and this toll free thing is going to create even more jams on the roads.
Yes, but what about our participants? Are you guys excited for going back to Kampong? Balik Kampong? The breakfast?
Let us know whether you
Let us know.
are celebrating your Chinese New Year in KL or whether you have to go back. Because for those of us who stay back in KL, whether you celebrate Chinese New Year or not, KL during festivals, during major festivals, it's actually a lovely city.
Yes.
Right, during Hari Raya, during Chinese New Year, where there are no traffic jams, the shopping malls, it's so wow, there are hardly any people there. It's so enjoyable to do window shopping, and you go to your favorite eateries, your cafes, your favorite kopitiam. You don't have any competitors. So staying back in KL actually during major festivals is actually fun.
Fun.
And
Yes.
a lot cheaper.
Because save on the cost of traveling.
Traveling, yeah. So maybe for those of you who are in a position or in a situation where you can celebrate the Chinese New Year in KL, right? Maybe next year, because now it's too late. Next year, get your relatives, get your families to come to KL, because the traffic will be in the opposite direction.
Oh yes.
Everybody is leaving KL. But if let's say your relatives are coming from Ipoh, Kuantan, or Penang, you're going the opposite direction. And then when they go back, they're also going in the opposite direction.
What is the best time for you to think like to travel coming back to KL?
I don't know. I've never done this before, but the great outflow is from KL to the rest of the country, and then when the Chinese New Year holidays end, is reverse will happen. All the people from Penang, all the people from Johor, Perak will all flow back to KL, and then you get the traffic jam. So if you are in a position, you're able to get your friends, get your family, get your relatives to celebrate next year's Chinese New Year in KL, because KL is going to be empty, the roads are going to be empty,
Yes.
and the highways that you're going to be traveling on will be pretty empty. So do the contrary, do the opposite. Right? And who knows, they might get to enjoy their festivals in KL.
Well, are you guys excited for the Year of Rabbit as we welcome it? So
I don't know. I look at things differently. Whether it's Year of the Rabbit, Year of the Tiger, whether it's Capricorn, whether it's Virgo. You know, you're chopping up time artificially, right? 31st December, oh, is going to be 2023. Sorry, 2022. 1st January is going to be 2023. But time is not like that. Time is a continuous kind of, it's not a trend. Time is a, it's not a space. So time is something that is continuous. You don't chop it up. Well, it's only mankind, it's only human beings that chop it up artificially, right? That 1st January, come 1st January, it's going to be different from 31st December. Or in terms of the Chinese New Year context, come the first day of Chinese Year, the Che is going to be different from the last day of the year of the tiger. So time is not it's not a discrete type of function. It's a continuous function. So in that sense, I think it's all human made by human beings to uh, console themselves, to reassure themselves that next year is always better. But I don't know, if you look back all over the years, next year is the same as the last year. The new year is the same as the old year. Right? I mean, civilization, humanity, in a way, hasn't really progressed. In a way, humanity, societies have gone backwards. Right? Now, you want to travel to another foreign country, you want to go to America or Australia, wherever it is, you need a passport, you need to have a visa. But 500 years ago, right, when all the colonial powers, when all the Portuguese, the Dutch, the British, when they came, they don't need a passport and a visa, they just came. So can you imagine if those colonial powers, those imperialists, right, when they came 500 years ago and they need to have a visa and a passport, we told them, no, you are a terrorist. You cannot come in. I cannot give you the visa, I cannot give you the entry. So in that sense, society has gone backwards. Society was freer. I could just, if this is now what, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, I just take my bag and I start traveling. And there's no government to control me, that I don't have to chop my passport and so on. So why are we so excited about the new year? Sorry, guys, if I put a dampener to your hopes that the next year is going to be better than your present year, your previous year. I think, by the end of next year, you're going to say, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next year because it's going to be better. So it's always like the saying says, right? Tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow never comes. But what do you like? How about you guys? Like,
Huh?
I don't know, like the new year, we're looking forward, like the
Yeah,
new rabbit,
like I said, it's a rabbit or whatever it
tiger,
is,
whatever. So, yeah.
tiger, horse, and all that. Does it make any difference?
What do you guys think? Like, comment below and let us know. If
Yeah,
let's say you have
yeah.
any questions,
Yeah.
like even your suggestion of thoughts.
Yeah,
So yeah.
All your experience.
Yes.
Whether all those wishes that you have made in the last 20 years, in the last 30 years, whether all your wishes for a better year, whether they've actually materialized, whether they've come true.
Yep.
Or are you still forever wishing for a better year?
And the better is subjective, I suppose. We
Of
don't
course,
know.
of course, yeah, of course, it's very subjective. It really depends on the each individual circumstances. Definitely. But talking about the rabbit, the rabbit is supposed to have the quality whereby he is patient, is able to wait for the time which is the opportune time for it to leap into action. Right? That's what the rabbit is.
Yes,
yeah?
the characteristic of a rabbit.
That that characteristic is actually necessary, not just in the year of the rabbit, it's necessary in all the years. Because if you're an investor, right, especially if you are a serious investor, if you're a long-term investor, you don't want to be always buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. You just want to wait, and then when the right stocks come in, when the right investments come up at the right price, right, and the right opportunity turns up, that's when you invest. That's when you pounce.
That's where the opportunities are.
Right. So it's not just the year of the rabbit. It's a forever, the quality that you must have forever.
Yes. And Teng Boo, we have question from
Mm,
Teo Gyap Singh.
mm,
So will China leading the trend of internet marketing? Example
mm,
is a Chinese word,
mm,
直播带购. So it is very different to
mm,
the brick and mortar of retail business.
mm.
Would this innovation or trend change in retail spending cause the traditional retail sectors to be out of business in China?
I think the environment that we're in now, the macro environment that we're in now, has seen changes not just between offline and online. You also have what is layered upon it is the post-pandemic world. And if you're talking about China, right,
Mm,
eh, I think people are still frightened.
mm,
Uh, Even President Xi Jinping also warned, that the COVID is going to escalate. The number of cases is going to escalate very dramatically in the rural areas,
mm,
right? Because there's going to be this huge movement of Chinese people from the urban centers back to their home provinces, and in that traveling, you have so many people traveling, close contacts, and then you're going to pass it on to the people back in your home provinces in the rural areas. So, uh, in this environment, the online offline business is going to be very confusing, because on the one hand you have people who, if you look at the uh, Chinese people who want to travel domestically or travel to Southeast Asia, if you look at trip.com, the amount of Chinese people who wants to travel outside or within China has gone up by a huge percentage.
oh.
Right. So this segment that says, look, it's time for me to go out and live a normal life again.
And to invest
And
in Chinese stock?
and there's another segment that says that no, 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 no. The infection is going to get worse, because it's the first time that China has eased all the restrictions, and the infection most likely will worsen. So, which group of society will be the more powerful factor? The one that's frightened, or the one that is really gear up to start going all out in the real physical world? I think for the next 1 or 2 months, it's going to be very tricky.
Mm.
If you look at the experience of other countries that have opened up, like what China did, like say South Korea, or even like in Hong Kong or in Taiwan, the first few months you see a drop in the business activity, whether it's retail sales and so on, you actually see a drop because people are still not comfortable, not familiar, not used to it. Then, after the first 2 3 months, then things get back to normal, and then the recovery bounces back.
Mm.
Would that happen in China's case? It's look like I said, it boils down to the question that I asked earlier: which sector of society is in the bigger number? The segment of society that's waiting to go all out and live a normal physical life again, or the segment of society that is still frightened and let's say, wait and see. That is the question that I cannot answer.
Mm.
So to answer that question, offline, online, I think the next few months the trend is going to be confusing. But over the long term, meaning once this post-pandemic world has stabilized, uh, and I mean in other countries like in US, Europe, Singapore, where things have stabilized, you can see that the offline business is still very, very important. In fact, I think it was the CEO of Lazada who said maybe like 6 months, 9 months ago that the online business need the offline business to survive.
Mm.
They cannot just be on online alone.
Mm. And we have question from John Doe, like Facebook. Has Teng Boo ever believed in feng shui?
Oh, I'm the last person to believe in feng shui. Feng shui actually if you look back, look, if feng shui and astrology is so reliable, right? Why is it that the customers of these feng shui masters Why is it that most of them are still not successful? Of course, if you give a speech, you give a forecast to 2,000 people, right? Out of the 2,000 people, there's going to be a certain number that's going to be proven correct. It's just like tossing a coin, right? If I toss a coin 1,000 times, 2,000 times, yes, I'll guess a few times correctly there's going to be head or tail. But that's not the power of feng shui. If you're so good, then the audience, the people who pay the money to this feng shui master would have been a lot more successful materially. But why is it that they are not? Why is it that the person who is financially well off is the feng shui master who sort of, I would don't want to use the word con you, but who is able to convince you and come back and listen to him and pay a certain amount, right? I mean, if it's so easy, a lot of people, it's not just 2,000 people, maybe 20 million people would have listened to the feng shui master. But it's just like tossing a coin, right? If you keep guessing head or tail, after 2,000 times, I guarantee you, you get a certain percentage correct.
Possibility.
No, it's a sure thing, right? If you toss a coin 10 times, maybe 10 times you get it wrong. But if you keep tossing and tossing and tossing, right? 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 times, right? Out of that, you're going to get it correct a certain percentage. That certain percentage that got it correct, they'll go around and say, oh, you know, this feng shui master is so good, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then the rest, look, why are there so many people who are scammed so easily? Right? I previously shared with in another Facebook live session where this 30 plus year old lady, right, who came and was conned of 50,000 ringgit, was scammed. Because why? In the first 3 days, this scammer was impersonating me, impersonating Teng Boo, right? So in the first 3 days, this scammer allowed this 35-year-old lady to make 600 US dollars in 3 days. Of course, this young, gullible lady was taken, so convinced, gave him more money, right? And within 3 weeks, 2 weeks, less, about 2 to 3 weeks, this lady lost 50,000 ringgit. And then you read of this university lecturer, it's a university lecturer in Johor who lost 1.2 million in an investment scam. And I think it was today, there was another very senior person who lost, I think, something like 3 million to another scam. So I'm not saying feng shui is a scam. Please, for those of you who are believers and supporters of feng shui, please don't get angry with me. I'm not saying it's a scam, right? All I'm saying is that, look, if you think that, if you're so convinced that the feng shui is so accurate, then you got to ask yourself, why is it that only the feng shui master make the money, make the most money, and not the followers? Feng shui was started for a different reason. For example, feng shui was used for different purpose, right? It's based on certain sciences, based on certain geological observation, right? For example, if your house is in northeastern China, Dongpei, right, Beijing or whatever it is, and you know that certain time of the year, the Siberian winds, which are super cold, will blow in a certain direction, correct? So the so-called feng shui, which is not really feng shui, is to tell you, hey, when you build a house and you design your house, make sure your main doors and all that don't face the wind or the Siberian cold winds. Because if your main door face the direction of the Siberian cold, every time you open your door, your house get cold and all your heating system doesn't work. So face your door in a different direction. That is feng shui. That I believe, because that is based on logic, rational, scientific behavior and actions, right? But not the type where, oh, you know, look, some feng shui masters say, I'm born in the year of the horse. And some feng shui masters say that those who are born in the year of the horse, the year of the rabbit is going to see them very successful. They're going to make a lot of money. They're going to have a lot of happy relationships. Great. If it happens to come true, I'll be happy.
Everyone will be happy.
Well, not everyone, you know, because not everybody is the year of the horse. But as the year of the horse, I'll be very happy. But do I have expectations that are going to come true? No, I mean, it comes true, it's come true. It doesn't come true, so what? But do I really go and base my decisions, base my strategy on that kind of feng shui forecast? Definitely not. Definitely not.
We have question from Lishan. Can you give us some ang pao money by sharing some investment tips?
Hmm.
What can we invest in, like
Hmm.
in the year of rabbit? Like what can we invest in?
Hmm. I've already given the ang pao.
Have you guys received it? Comment yes or no.
Few weeks ago, we had this session where we said,
Hmm.
look, it's really time to buy Chinese stocks. That was about, today is what? Today is the 21st? 21st of January? No, 20th.
20th of
All
January.
right, about 3 weeks ago, we really had this session.
Oh, yes.
All right, and 7th of January, we had the investment event, where we said, look, it is really time to buy Chinese stock. Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, if you just take a look at our iCapital China fund, which invests only in Chinese stock, the net asset value in that 3 weeks has really gone up about 15 to 18%.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
And that is a fund. So if you're invested in certain stocks like Alibaba or Ping An, I think from the lows of about the end of last year, from the low to the recent price, it has doubled. So I've already given the ang pao. It's just that people, don't recognize the ang pao, but they don't make use of it. So what to do? How to force them? Right. So
That's why we have this live
okay,
session.
I got one more ang pao.
Oh.
Look, because the
Grab the opportunity, guys.
I hope so, because the rally in Chinese stocks is just beginning.
Oh.
Now last year was difficult for a lot of people. Whether you invested in Nasdaq, whether you invest in Chinese stocks, it was difficult. Now, the US stocks are still going to be very vulnerable to inflation, US inflation, and US interest rate increases in US interest rate. Right now, China is opening up. The economy is huge. It's going to create a lot of demand for crude oil, a lot of demand for copper, for aluminium, and so on. The key thing is crude oil. Now, you'll notice the price of crude oil has been stabilizing and might even go up. Should that happen, which I think it will, then it will create inflationary pressure on the US economy. So, in other words, the US inflation rate may be stuck at a high level, or it may even go up, which means what? The Federal Reserve has got to increase interest rate even more, has got to tighten just monetary policy even more. Now, when this happens, what is going to suffer? The New York stock market, Nasdaq, especially the technology stocks, because technology stocks are very sensitive to interest rate movement. So you have the major markets in the world, which is NYSE and Nasdaq, that faces a lot of uncertainties because of the high inflation and the monetary tightening. But on the other hand, you have China, right, which is opening up, where inflation is not really, there's no inflation problem. In fact, China should be reducing interest rate instead of increasing interest rate, and the economy is bouncing back. If you look at the Chinese consumers, because of the pandemic, the Chinese consumers, their typical behavior is they are very thrifty, they like to save and so on. So during the pandemic of the last 3 years, the Chinese consumers have saved, in addition to their normal savings, trillions of renminbi. So when the economy normalizes this year, those extra trillions of renminbi that they have saved, they're going to spend it. And what I'm saying is that the Chinese economy is in a wonderful position. There's no inflation. There's going to be very strong growth. And what will benefit? The companies, the stock exchange. So this is not based on the rabbit, but based on my logical analysis, is that the Chinese stocks still have got quite a long way to go.
Long way.
Right? That's only January. I can see the beginnings of a sustainable rally for the Chinese stocks. So if you guys are interested, we manage a few funds.
Yes.
Right? iCapital China Fund is one. Our iCapital International Value Fund, which is a unit trust licensed and regulated in Australia, has about 70% of its asset invested in Chinese stocks. Right? So this type of funds that we have, the major advantage is not just exposure to Chinese stock. You also, like our international value fund, the reporting currency is AUD, Australian dollar. So you have protection from any weakness in the ringgit because it is priced in AUD.
Oh, so the exchange rate will also
Benefit you. So
benefits.
to answer the earlier question, the ang pao. So I've given you so many ang paos. It's been given out. Are you ready to take it?
Are you ready to take it? Comment yes or no and grab it as fast as you can. Else you can always recall back our
Yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
Live.
Or you can
Yes,
contact us,
definitely. And don't forget to like our social media as well. So we have a question from Gyap Singh.
Mhm.
So do you foresee China will eventually be world technology leader taking over US instead of deemed as copycat?
In many
Interesting question.
areas, in many areas, China is already a global technology leader. I mean, like in the case of mobile communications, right, smartphones and so on, 5G, and so on. China is really the leader, which is why the US is so frightened, which is why the US purposely attacked Huawei to destroy Huawei because China was really leading
Mm.
in terms of electric vehicles, EVs, and autonomous driving.
Mm.
Not the whole thing, because when you look at it, the whole sector, there's no one leader. But in many areas of EV and autonomous driving, China has really lead the world, right? And in terms of quantum computing, there's a hard fight between US and China, but some people say China is ahead, some people say that US is ahead, but quantum computing is where I think uh, pretty soon China will be a global leader. So in many areas, China is already a technology global leader.
Yes.
But you cannot have a situation where one country is a technology leader in all areas of technology. It cannot be like that.
Cannot.
Right? And the projection is that over the next 5, 10, 15 years, people begin to recognize that look, uh, goods made in China, goods designed in China are good and all at a cheaper price. Like I always tell whoever is
Made in China.
willing to listen to me, why buy Apple? Apple is so expensive. If I buy Xiaomi, I buy Huawei,
Huawei.
I get top quality at a lower price. But what to do? Apple's marketing is better. That doesn't mean that Apple's technology is better because most of the parts of Apple are made in China. So the thing now is to be able to change your mindset and be prepared for the day when a lot of the products or things that come out from China can be seen for the true quality and still at a cheaper price.
Teng Boo, we have a question from Jean Yup, LK. What is your view on EV and tech stocks in 2023 since you mentioned high interest rate will affect tech stock?
Yeah, I think generally tech stocks have taken a huge beating, right? If I include Amazon.com as a tech stock, Amazon.com has fallen like 60, 70%. And then those tech stocks which are related to the pandemic, Zoom, plunged 90%, Netflix, right? DocuSign, I think DocuSign is very shaky. So a lot of the tech stocks have been really hit. And another area where they have been hit was in the consumer side, the consumer electronics. That's why companies like AMD, Nvidia have seen their prices uh, plunge. But even the solid type, where they are pretty well diversified, like ASML and TSMC, their share price has dropped like 40, 50%.
Wow.
And if you don't call 40, 50% a crash, I do not know what a crash is then. So the tech stocks have already been badly hit by the US tightening. The question people are asking now is whether the US tightening is over, whether it's reached its peak. Right? So if it's reached its peak, then the bottom for the technology stocks, particularly those in US, should be bottoming out. So as I explained a while ago, I think the inflation situation in US in this year is complicated right? You have certain sectors of the US economy already almost recession like. Housing is recession like in US, right?
Mm.
The technology sector has been retrenching a lot of their staff. Manufacturing in US generally has almost gone into recession level. But there are other segments of the US economy that are still holding up well. So that comes to the question of what I think is going to happen to US inflation, right?
Mm.
So unfortunately or fortunately, the Chinese economy is opening up and the Chinese economy has not been consuming additional oil for 2 years already. So they're going to need a lot more oil in 2023. That's going to boost oil price up and that will fit into US inflation. So which means that the monetary tightening that the US Federal Reserve that they've been conducting for the last 9 months, right, it's not enough. So they have to tighten further. If they have to tighten further, then of course the tech stocks will be plunging again.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean that's one case, lah, right? So the thing now is, and what is possibly may make the situation worse is this, that the recession that is anticipated for Europe is not as serious as what it is, or it doesn't happen because the economic indicators from Europe don't seem to point to a very nasty type of situation. It seems to be holding quite well. So if Europe demand is still holding up and China is bouncing back, then I think US inflation is going to be very problematic.
Oh.
And therefore, not just the tech stocks, but the US stock market is going to be very problematic. Which is why
You invest?
which is why we have positioned for our funds, which is why we have positioned our funds, a lot of their investments are in Chinese stocks
Mm.
because I don't have all these risks.
Yes.
I hope that answers Jean's question, right?
It's a very interesting question.
Yeah,
So
very interesting answer.
very interesting answer as well. And for now, thank you guys for joining our live session. And now it will be a time for Teng Boo to choose the best comment.
Best comment. I don't know. What do you think?
For
Let
me,
me know.
uh, I think Gyap Sing asked quite a number of like interesting comments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jean as well.
Okay. So
Yes.
maybe the two of them.
Maybe the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Jin Yup and Gyap Sing. So we'll pass the special event, like the gift to you, and then it will be our Chinese New Year packet and ang pao, two sets of packets of ang pao.
Okay, but
Yes.
by the time they receive it, the New Year is over, ma.
Next
Ah.
week, next week.
Yeah, next week the Chinese New Year.
Chinese New Year, so
Oh, unless they keep the red packet for next year's.
yes, as souvenir from our
Okay.
Capital Dynamics.
After year of the rabbit is what?
Uh,
I
I think
have
it's
no idea.
dragon.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Yes,
Huh?
dragon.
Next year is Year of the Dragon.
Yes.
Okay. So our red packet can also be used for Year of the Dragon. I hope lah. I hope there's no rabbit in front of the red packet. But never mind. If you have a rabbit in front of the red packet, then make sure that the rabbit looks like a dragon.
Just draw it yourself. Okay, so
But I think all of us should have fun, all right? Whether it's going to be a better year or a
Yes.
lousy year, really, a lot depends on our mindset, right? If we approach the year so fearful there's going to be a bad year, then most likely it'll be self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And then if you expect to be a good year and things don't turn out that way, then you're totally unprepared, and therefore it will sour your mood for the whole year.
yeah.
So I think go in the year with an open mind. I'm not a feng shui master, and I really explained earlier, I don't follow them and I don't believe in them, right? So go into any new year, whether it's the English New Year, Chinese New Year, Muslim New Year, Indian New Year, whatever New Year it is, with an open mind. Right? Expect the worst. Right? Be prepared for the worst, and then work harder and see that you can get a better outcome.
Eventually.
In that way, every year will be a good year.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's make every year a good year.
Let's make it. And once again, don't forget to follow us by not only clicking the like and share button. Please follow us on our Facebook page as well, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And then you can get advice like making every year a good year,
making every year a good year.
so that you look forward to every year.
And I look forward to see you again starting next week on our Facebook Live event. Saturday, 11 a.m. We'll resume back our live session by 11 Saturday. And once again, bye everyone. Take care.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend.
新年快乐。
Happy Chinese New Year.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.